Respected and distinguished members of the bar, my friends in legal profession, academicians, social activists, friends, today I am before you to speak on an issue that lies at the intersection of constitutional law, social justice, human dignity, and democratic values, Dalit Christians, and the unfinished promise of the Constitution. Why scheduled caste status must be delinked from religion. The continued denial of scheduled caste status to the Dalit Christians. This issue is not merely about reservations, my friends. It is not merely about religion. It is fundamentally about whether Indian Constitution permits discrimination against equally oppressed people solely because of religion they profess. At the heart of the debate lies a simple constitutional question. Can constitutional disabilities continue but constitutional protections disappear merely because a person changes his or her religion? My answer is a clear and emphatic no, my friends. The historical background. My friends, the Constitution Scheduled Caste Order 1950 restricted scheduled caste status exclusively to Hindus. This restriction was based upon an assumption that untouchability existed only within the Hindu society. Later, Parliament recognized the weakness of that assumption and extended scheduled caste status to Sikh Dalits in 1956 and Buddhist Dalits in 1990. However, Dalit Christians and Dalit Muslims continue to remain excluded from that. Thus, two persons born in the same caste, living in the same village, and facing the same discrimination are treated differently by law merely because one professes Christianity. This contradiction has remained unresolved for more than 75 years, my friends. The real question, the debate is often diverted into a theological discussion. People ask, does Christianity recognize caste? Does Islam recognize caste? In my respectful view, these are the wrong questions. The correct question is, does society continue to discriminate against Dalit converts after conversion? The answer is undoubtedly yes. Caste in India is not merely a religious institution. It is a social institution. A person may change religion overnight. Society does not change its mindset overnight. The stigma survives. The discrimination survives. The untouchability survives. Therefore, the constitutional remedy must also survive. Then, social realities of Dalit Christians. Across India, my friends, numerous studies reveal that the Dalit Christians continue to experience poverty, landlessness, social exclusion, untouchability, residential segregation, occupational discrimination, and caste-based humiliation. In many places, separate cemeteries exist, separate seating arrangements exist, separate social practices continue. Even within the sections of Indian church, caste distinctions still persist. This reality demonstrates a fundamental truth. Conversion changes faith, but often does not change social status. Then the Ranganath Mishra Commission, the National Commission for Religious and Linguistic Minorities, headed by former Chief Justice of India, Honorable Justice Ranganath Mishra, conducted extensive studies and consultation, and its conclusions were very, very clear that social stigma continue after conversion. The commission recommended delinking scheduled caste status from religion, extending scheduled caste benefits to Dalit Christians and Dalit Muslims. Unfortunately, these recommendations remain unimplemented. Then, what is the constitutional perspective? My friends, Article 14, equality. The Constitution guarantees equality before law. How can similarly situated Dalits be treated differently solely on the basis of the religion? Then Article 15, non-discrimination. The Constitution prohibits discrimination on the grounds of religion. Yet, the 1950 order makes religion the deciding factor for scheduled caste status. This creates a serious constitutional contradiction. Article 17, abolition of untouchability. Article 17 abolished untouchability. If untouchability continues against Dalit Christians, denying them protection undermines the very purpose of Article 17. Then Article 25, freedom of religion. Every citizen has the right to choose and practice religion. But the present system effectively tell Dalits, you may convert, but we will lose constitutional protection. That is not genuine religious freedom. That is a constitutional penalty imposed on the conscience. Then relevant judicial developments. My friends, the Honorable Supreme Court in several cases and decisions has recognized that the caste identity may survive even after conversion. In Kailas Sonkar versus Mayadevi, the court acknowledged that the caste disabilities may continue despite religious conversion even thereafter. Also, during many hearings relating to Dalit Christian reservations and the caste untouchability cases, judges of the Supreme Court observed that the social stigma and religious identity are two different issues. This distinction is extremely important. The Constitution protects against social discrimination. It does not merely regulate religious identity, my friends. Then double discrimination. Why? Dalit Christians suffer a unique form of injustice. They continue to face social discrimination because society identifies them as Dalits, and simultaneously they suffer constitutional exclusion because the law does not recognize them as scheduled caste. Thus, they suffer discrimination without protection. This is a double discrimination. Then triple marginalization. In many cases, my friends, Dalit Christians experience marginalization by the society through caste prejudice, marginalization by the state through denial of constitutional safeguards, marginalizations within the religious institutions through continuing caste practices, that is, even in the churches. This creates what may be described as a triangle of oppression. Then what would Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, the father of Indian Constitution, say today if he had been alive? My friends, Baba Saheb Ambedkar's struggle was never confined to religious identity. His struggle was against caste oppression. He repeatedly emphasized liberty, equality, and fraternity. His conversion to Buddhism was itself an act of protest against caste discrimination. Would Baba Saheb Ambedkar support a system where social oppression continues but constitutional protection disappears? The answer is self-evident. He will never say yes, he will say no emphatically. Then the role of the Justice Balakrishnan Commission, which is now making inquiry. The Justice Balakrishnan Commission has a historic responsibility. Its recommendations will influence not merely the policy of the government but the future direction of the constitutional justice in India. The Commission must decide whether the constitutional protection should be determined by religious identity or the social realities. In my respectable submission to the Honorable Balakrishnan Commission, constitutional justice requires the latter, that is, it must take into consideration the social realities. Then, addressing the fear of quota dilution, some people are spreading the rumors that extending scheduled caste status to the Dalit Christians may reduce opportunities available to existing scheduled caste. After all, my friends, they were born in your own community and they are living with you, among with you, and getting married with you. So this concern deserves discussion but cannot justify denial of constitutional rights. The solution lies in rational policy design. The solution cannot be continued discrimination. Justice cannot be denied merely because justice must be shared. My friends, as a conclusion, I would like to say that the issue before us is larger than reservations. It concerns the soul of the Constitution. The constitutional promises justice, equality, liberty, and fraternity. These promises cannot depend upon the religion. If caste discrimination survives conversion, constitutional protection must survive conversion. If social stigma remains, constitutional remedies must remain. If equality means anything, it must mean equal treatment of equally oppressed people. The time has come to complete an unfinished chapter of social justice. The time has come to ensure that no citizen is forced to choose between faith and constitutional rights. The time has come to extend scheduled caste status to Dalit Christians and fulfill the constitutional vision of Baba Sahib Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Thank you, my friends. Jai Bhim, Jai Bharat, Jai Constitution.